ibn Abi Layla, Ismail ibn Ayyash, Al-Walid ibn Muslim, and those I have not named, all of them saying, Iman consists of speech and action. It increases and it decreases. And Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala explains this issue of speech and action. What do they mean that Iman is speech and action? And Ibn Qayyim died in the year of 751 after the Hijrah. Said in his Madarij al-Salikin, he said, as for the speech of the heart, then it is to believe in what Allah the Most Perfect has informed about Himself upon the tongue of His Messenger, concerning His names, His attributes, His actions, and meeting with Him. So, it is to affirm in one's heart that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered us to affirm, or that which He has mentioned with regard to Himself. About Himself, about the Messenger of Allah, about the angels, about the Qadr, about Yawm al-Qiyamah, the books that came previously. All of this is affirmed in the heart, and it is called the speech of the heart. So it is in essence the ma'rifah or knowledge that is contained in the heart of an individual. If I was to say to you that if a person has this in his heart, is he a Muslim? What would your answer be? Yes or no? No. Correct. Only one person. Correct. The answer is no. That if a person was to just affirm with his heart and have the knowledge in his heart that Allah is one, He is alone to be worshipped, he just has knowledge that He is deserving of worship, and that Allah sent down angels, and Allah sent down messengers, and Allah sent down books, and so on and so forth, and Yawm al-Qiyamah will come, and there is a belief in Qadr. He just has knowledge of this in his heart. This does not make that person a Muslim, and of course therefore not a believer. Because Iblis has this knowledge. As you well know, Iblis has this knowledge. Does Iblis not know that Adam was the first man that Allah created with His own two hands? Iblis knows, because Allah addresses him in the Quran. Why do you not bow down to the one I created my own two hands? Allah informs Iblis. Iblis knows that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent prophet after prophet after prophet, numbering 124,000 with 313 messengers. Iblis knows this. So this knowledge will not benefit Iblis, not an iota. Will not be benefited by this knowledge. But anyway, that is a part of Iman. To have speech in one's heart. Meaning to have knowledge in one's heart. Then there is the speech of the tongue. And that is to speak upon the tongue with that which is in the heart. Like for example, to inform and convey about Allah. To call to it, to defend it, to make dua. And other than that, from that which is necessitated by the tongue. And of course, all of this is begun with what? The shahadatain. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. So, all of that speech upon the tongue is preceded by this, because this will enter him into Islam. As long as he has the actions of the heart. Such as, and this is what is necessitated from the speech of the heart, that a person, that because he has knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he has knowledge that Yawm al-Qiyamah is coming, so he has what is called the actions of the heart, such as love for Allah, reliance upon Allah, having fear of Allah, having hope in Him, making the religion purely and sincerely for Him, turning one's actions towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, turning one's desires towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and away from other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And by having patience upon that which Allah has commanded, keeping away from His prohibitions, having allegiance and enmity for His sake, having love and hatred for His sake in one's heart. All of this is from Iman. Humbling oneself before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, having humility in front of Him, becoming tranquil in one's soul and one's heart. And other than this, from the actions of the heart, whose obligation is more binding than even the actions of the limbs. It is even more binding than the actions of the limbs. So this is something that is necessitated for an individual to have iman, that he has speech of the heart, speech of the tongue, actions of the heart, which I've mentioned, and actions of the limbs. Such as, for example, the prayer, making jihad, praying the Jumu'ah, enjoying the good, forbidding the evil, displaying goodness, smiling in the face of a believer. All of these are from the actions of the limbs. And of course, if one thinks of iman in this way, then the more knowledge that you have in the heart, the more speech of the heart that you have, then if the person is sincere, then by necessity, the actions of the heart will increase. Because the more that you know Allah, and the more that Allah informs you of Yawm al-Qiyamah, and the more that you learn about Yawm al-Qiyamah, the more that you learn about the messengers, and the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, the more that you learn about him, the more reliance you have in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more humility you have, the more sincerity you have, and the more desire you have to implement that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered. And therefore that is followed on upon the speech of the tongue. Because then you start saying that which is in the heart upon your tongue. Because that which you feel in your heart, you're going to profess upon your tongues. So you're going to read the Quran more. You're going to make more dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're going to stay in your sajda longer. And make those adhkar, lengthen them in the sajda. Because your knowledge of Allah has increased. Your actions of the heart have increased. Because your reliance and your trust and your love and your hope has increased. So that will be necessitated upon the tongue and upon the limbs. So therefore you'll run out and do more righteous actions upon the limbs. So you'll give more sadaqah. And you'll be better to your wives. And the wives will be more obedient to their husbands. And you'll keep away from the zina. And you'll keep away from that which is forbidden. And you won't look at that naked woman. And the women won't be covetous of their sisters. And so on and so forth. And you'll rush to pray the salawat in the jama'ah. And you'll rush to come to the Jummah early. Because this is what iman and speech of the heart and actions of the heart necessitate by way of outward actions. And all of these are a necessary part of iman. They are a part of iman. And it is not separated as the Murji'ah, that they will exclude actions from iman. And they will say that actions do not affect your iman. That's why Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Then they say that iman is speech and action. And it increases with obedience to Allah. And it decreases with obedience to the shaitan. So that's what Imam Bukhari begins with. And this is of course in opposition to two groups. As I mentioned, one group the Murji'ah, and the second group the Khawarij. The Khawarij who said that what major sins do is that they take away iman altogether. It is stripped away from the iman in one instant blow. So as soon as the person commits a major sin, such as he drinks, or he gambles, or he rules by, or he judges by what other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed, then they say that this one, the whole of iman has been stripped away from his heart, he's no longer a Muslim. And this is why some of the Salaf used to say, for more than one reason, but this is one of the reasons, and we mention the other reason when we come on to the issue, that the Khawarij, they are Murji'ah. Or in some of their statements, the Murji'ah, they are the Khawarij. And each of them has an angle, one from the other. So the Khawarij, when they saw someone committing a sin, they used to say that all of the iman has been stripped from his heart. And especially they used to focus upon the rulers. So when they saw a ruler, they said, look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. That whomsoever does not judge by what Allah has revealed, whoever judges by other than what Allah has revealed, then they are the kuffar, they are the disbelievers. So they used to say that the one who has not judged by Allah, other than Allah has revealed, then he's a kafir, focusing it upon the ruler. So when the ruler commits a sin, they say kafir, iman stripped away from his heart. No iman remains whatsoever. No iman remains whatsoever in his heart. He's a kafir, outside the fold of Islam. And therefore, this would necessitate from the Khawarij the second point, which is that what do you do with a murtad who has left the fold of Islam? Apostate. Then their ruling is upon the apostate, as the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, that a Muslim is not killed except for three reasons. One of them adultery, the other one a life